Good morning, my literary adventurers. Tuesday, we explored the cosmic wanderings of the Rig Veda and the profound philosophy of the Upanishads. Today, we're diving into what might be the world's longest epic poem, the magnificent Mahabarata. This little chariot right here represents one of the most famous scenes in world literature, when the warrior Arjuna stands ready for battle while receiving divine wisdom from his charioteer, who just so happens to be the god Krishna in disguise. Now let me give y'all some context for what we're reading. The Mahabarata is enormous, over 100,000 verses spanning 18 books. That's about 10 times longer than the Iliad and the Odyssey combined. If I started reading it aloud right now, we'd be here until next Christmas. The core story follows the dynastic struggle between two groups of cousins, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, for the throne of Hastinapura. But around this central conflict, the text weaves in countless sub-stories, philosophical dialogues, and ethical teachings. It's like if Game of Thrones also contained the complete works of Aristotle and the Bible thrown in for good measure. Our main heroes are the five Pandava brothers, who all share one wife. And yes, you heard that right, the brilliant and strong-willed Draupadi. Their enemies are their cousins, the 100 Kaurava brothers. Yes, polyandry, a woman having multiple husbands. It was rare even in ancient India. Draupadi's marriage to all five brothers serves both narrative and symbolic purposes. It binds the brothers together and creates a powerful alliance. And some scholars see it as representing the soul's connection to the five senses. After years of conflict, exile, and failed peace negotiations, the cousins finally meet on the battlefield for an 18-day war that will determine the fate of the kingdom. It's right before this battle that we encounter the text we've been reading, the Bhagavad Gita, or the Song of the Lord. The Bhagavad Gita is a 700-verse dialogue between the warrior Arjuna and his charioteer Krishna, who reveals himself as an avatar, an incarnation of the god Vishnu. It takes place literally moments before the battle is about to begin, when Arjuna is having a moral crisis. Imagine the scene. Two massive armies are arrayed on the battlefield. War drums are beaten, flags are flying, elephants are trumpeting. Arjuna asks Vishnu to drive his chariot between the armies so that he can see who he'll be fighting. And what does he see? There Arjuna could see, standing in both armies, fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, father-in-law, and well-wishers. Seeing all of his kinsmen present there, Arjuna was overcome with deep compassion. Y'all see Arjuna's dilemma? He's about to fight his own family members, his teachers, people he loves, and he breaks down, telling Krishna, "My limbs fall and my mouth is parching, my body trembles and my hair stands on end. I do not see any good in slaying my own people in battle. This is a profound moral crisis. Arjuna is a warrior. It's his duty, his dharma to fight. But how can he kill his own family? Wouldn't that be a terrible sin? Shouldn't compassion override duty?" And here's where we get to the simple concept we're exploring this week, dharma. Dharma is often translated as duty or righteousness, but it's more complex than that. It's the cosmic order that sustains the universe. And on a personal level, it's your sacred duty based on your place in society and stage of life. There are parallels to the Ma'at in Egyptian thought and Rita in the Vedas. All of these concepts point to a divine order that governs both nature and human society. So how does Krishna respond to Arjuna's crisis? First, he offers a metaphysical perspective. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body after death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Krishna's first argument is that death is just a transformation, not an end. The eternal soul, or Atman, simply changes bodies like changing clothes. So in the highest sense, Arjuna can't actually kill anyone. But Krishna doesn't stop there. He introduces a new concept, karma yoga, the yoga of action. He tells Arjuna, "You have a right to perform your prescribed duties, but but you are not entitled to the fruits of your actions. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of the activities, nor be attached to inaction. Krishna is saying do your duty, but don't be attached to the results. Act without desire for personal gain. Do what's right because it's right, not because of what you'll get out of it. There's a paradox here. Krishna is telling Arjuna to fight with full effort, but without attachment to victory. It's like telling a basketball player to give 100%, but not care if they win. The key is understanding that your duty is to act with skill and integrity, but the outcome isn't in your hands. Another aspect of the Gita is how it presents multiple spiritual paths for different types of people. Krishna doesn't say that there's only one way to reach the divine. For intellectual types, there's Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge and wisdom. For emotional types, there's Bhakti Yoga, the path of love and devotion. For active types, there's Karma Yoga, the path of selfless action. And for meditative types, there's Raja Yoga, the path of mental discipline. It's like Krishna is saying there's more than one way to skin a cat or achieve spiritual liberation. Each person can follow the path that suits their nature. Now let's get back to Arjuna's core dilemma. What do you do when different aspects of Dharma conflict? As a warrior, he should fight. As a family member, he should protect his relatives. As a compassionate person, he should avoid violence. Krishna introduces another crucial concept, svadharma, your personal duty based on your nature and position. He's telling Arjuna it's better to perform one's own duties imperfectly than to master the duties of another. By fulfilling the obligations he is born with, a person never comes to harm. This is one of the most challenging aspects of the Gita for modern readers. It seems to support the caste system, the idea that people are born into a particular social role that they should fulfill. How do we reconcile this with our belief in social mobility and equal opportunity? Well, we can interpret svadharma more broadly as finding and fulfilling your authentic purpose based on your unique talents and circumstances rather than being limited by the circumstances of your birth. The climax of the Gita comes when Arjuna asks to see Krishna's divine form. Krishna grants his wish, revealing himself in all his cosmic glory. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the supreme person in that universal form of the Lord. Unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with divine dazzling ornaments and arrayed in many garbs. It was garlanded gloriously, and there were many scents smeared on the body. Y'all, this is one of the most spectacular revelations of the divine in the world literature. Arjuna literally sees the entire universe contained within Krishna, past, present, and future, all beings, all worlds, everything. Let's take a moment to compare the Gita with the other texts we've studied. Unlike the creation hymns of the Rig Veda, the Gita is less concerned with cosmic origins and more with how to live ethically in the world. Unlike the Upanishads, which focus primarily on knowledge as the path to liberation, the Gita validates multiple paths, including action and devotion. And unlike Job in the Hebrew Bible, who questions God's justice, Arjuna receives a comprehensive philosophical response, along with a glimpse of divine glory that resolves his doubts. There are some parallels between Krishna's revelation and God speaking to Job from the whirlwind. Both emphasize the limitations of human perspective compared to divine knowledge, but while Job is essentially told, "Who are you to question me?" Arjuna is given a philosophical framework to understand his dilemma. For next week, we'll be shifting to ancient Chinese literature, focusing on Confucius, Analects, and Taoist texts. We'll see a very different approach to ethics and social harmony, one based not on divine revelation, but on human relationships and natural harmony. Remember, y'all, sometimes the greatest courage is doing your duty, even when it's difficult, whether that's standing up for what's right or just getting through a tough day. Act with integrity and without attachment to the outcome.